As many of you know, Tim Pool is a left-leaning moderate, but I do staunchly believe in student loan forgiveness. Donald Trump forgives $750 million in student loans for disabled vets. That was the right decision. Absolutely the right choice. I applaud the president for making this choice, and I believe we will see similar things from Elizabeth Warren and other Democrats who also agree with forgiving student loan debt. So look, I'm not a Trump derangement syndrome person. You guys know that. That's probably why you watch me. I can criticize the president and I can praise him for doing the right thing. If I say we need to forgive student loan debt and the orange man comes out and does it, I know I'm right. Period. Actually, not period. No, let's read on. But let's read the news. And here's my thing about student loan debt. Trump is doing it for veterans. It's a bit different for instead of doing it for everyone. But we have to forgive student loan debt in some capacity. I'm not saying just snap your fingers like Elizabeth Warren wants to do and say you're free. No. I think it's something like freezing interest so that they can just start paying the principal down and be done with it. So you still have a responsibility for what the money you received and spent, you have a responsibility to pay that back. However, a lot of these loans are extremely difficult to manage, especially when it's hard to work. If Trump wants to improve the economy, one of the things he can do is create a student loan forgiveness plan that potentially, look, I'm not an economist, so I'm going to get fact checked on this one, but here's my thought, here's my idea. By freezing interest, you will have all of these people in debt finally start paying down what they owe and having more money to put into the economy, buying houses, starting families, etc. It's going to be a nightmare when millennials don't buy houses. They're buying vans. I'm not exaggerating. Like, you've got people who need the value of their homes to go up because it's their only equity, it's their only investment. And that system is propped up by the fact that young people buy homes. Well, young people don't have any money. They're in massive debt. The whole system is screwed up. College is a bad idea. Okay, if you're a young person watching me, do not take out loans for college. You want to go to college, work through it. I would also recommend not going to college. I'd recommend using the internet, starting a business, making connections. But that's besides the point. You want to go to college, do not take out loans. It will destroy you. So we need the system to be improved. I blame our culture as a whole. Okay, it was the TV, it was the adults, it was the boomers. It was just so much of you have to go to college, being berated over and over again. And the colleges have become predatory. And now young people are saddled with debt and being told the solution is communism. Okay, full stop. That is not the solution, okay? Elizabeth Warren wants to snap her fingers and wipe out debt. I don't know about that. Well, let's look at what Trump did. Because if he did that, I'll be critical. But I think this is the right path in the long run. Listen, we need people engaging in the economy, not just sitting there confused about how they'll ever pay back loans they can't declare bankruptcy on. Let's read from the American Military News. President Donald Trump has signed an executive order on Wednesday afternoon to forgive disabled veterans student loan debt to the tune of $750 million. The order applies to approximately 25,000 totally and permanently disabled veterans who were previously qualified but had not received a loan discharge, who each hold an average of $30,000 in student loans, according to a White House statement on Wednesday. So I will stress, first steps, baby steps. These are veterans who are totally and permanently disabled. A lot of these people they can't work. And in which case, it makes sense to forgive the loan debt because there's no reason to put them into undue stress, especially they're veterans, man. I as an American, and it's crazy that liberals used to be there with me, like the left used to be there with me. We love the troops. That was always the thing I heard growing up was we can criticize the war and support those who are willing to put their life on the line for our country. And it's our criticism of the war that helps keep them safe. Like, that's what I heard growing up. These people who join the armed forces, whether they're doing it to find a job or they're doing it to serve their country, because let's be real, some people do it because it's a good job. It's true. I know many people who are veterans who've told me just that. But these are people who are putting their lives on the line in many capacities to serve the nation. And if they're being misled by corrupt politicians or by bad policy, I will criticize that policy and make sure we are keeping our troops safe. And when they come back, we do right by them when they become disabled, serving our country to provide us the infrastructure and the security we need. Admittedly, there's a lot of things done wrong by the armed forces, but I blame the policy and not the people. Now, the individuals who commit crimes, well, they get charged and convicted, right? So I do like this idea, but I do think we need to expand upon this. Today, I'm proud to announce that I'm taking executive action to ensure that our wounded warriors are not saddled with mountains of student debt, Trump said in a speech at the AmVets National Convention in Kentucky, where he spoke ahead of the signing. The announcement was met with a standing ovation. I would be standing for it too. I completely agree. I applaud this decision. Because I also think about this. You have a veteran who comes back totally and permanently disabled. That doesn't mean they're like quadriplegic or anything. It's like I don't know exactly how it works. It's like a percentage rating. But you have some people who might not be able to use their legs, for instance, or have trouble walking, and school can help find them a job that they can do with their mind or with what they have. So effectively saying, hey, you got hurt on our time. We owe you. Think about this. If you work for a business and you get hurt, you file a claim and you sue the company, assuming they did something wrong, and then, you get taken care of in the event something happened. In this instance, we have veterans who volunteer. I think for the most part, I think they're all volunteers. And when they end up in a position where they're struggling with their life because of the position they took to our country, I believe that makes sense. We pay it back. We take care of them. We make sure. Look, man, you guys know I'm rather lefty. I fully believe in being responsible to those who are there to provide a service to you. And like if anybody ever worked for me and got seriously hurt, I'd go above and beyond, to the greatest extent I could to make sure they were taken care of completely. Let's read a little bit more. There's just a little bit. They say, nobody can complain about that, right? He asked the crowd. Although tens of thousands of veterans have been declared disabled and unable to work, they were still being forced to repay their student loan debts. The federal government was pursuing student debt payments totaling $1 billion for more than 40,000 disabled veterans who were unable to work, according to a CNBC report. More than 25,000 of them are in default, and just 8,500 of them have applied for forgiveness. The debt of these disabled veterans will be entirely erased. It will be gone. They can sleep well tonight. Well, I'll say this. The broader plan for the U.S., I think that's a bad move. For people who are struggling to work and they're veterans, I can understand it. Now, listen, a lot of people are like, do I support the president or not? That question means little to me. It means absolutely little. And the answer will always be a resounding no for one reason. It's the position, not the person. I think Trump has character defects I do not appreciate, reflect poorly on us. I don't like a lot of his I think character goes a long way, but foreign policy exists there too. And while I've still given him credit on a lot of the foreign policy things, I also think we should be paying attention to the deficit, and this may add to it. So there's considerations. There are. But I don't care about the idea of whether you support him or not. It's about the issue. And on student loan forgiveness, bold move that I agree with. Now, look, I'm not an expert. Can we afford this? Is there going to be an issue? We should look into it. But I will stress, if we have 25,000 people in default, we're wasting our time. There's no reason to be chasing after somebody we're not gonna be able to get money from in the first place, especially if they're veterans. So I do think this is the right move. They go on to reiterate some of the points that were already made initially. They say in the order, Trump also directed the Departments of Education and Veterans Affairs to make it easier for disabled veterans to apply for student loan debt discharge. The process by which our disabled veterans apply for federal student loan discharges is too burdensome. I like it. I love it. The order will create a new, that was for me, by the way, not him. The order will create a new expedited process to help totally and permanently disabled veterans have their federal loan debt discharged with minimal burdens, the statement said. Here's the way I see it. This is a step in the right direction. Think about I've seen a lot of people tweet that we shouldn't forgive student loan debt for Americans because it's their responsibility. They chose to do this and now they have to pay back what they owe. I completely agree with that sentiment. But I think about the next move on the chessboard. When you create a millions upon millions of young people who are indebted to a degree that they can't pay it back, they become disheartened. They lose passion. They think there's no light at the end of the tunnel. I know people who have been in debt, for a decade plus, 15 years. And they're like, I barely paid it down. The interest is just too burdensome and I can't make money. So that's a problem. I also think it's a problem to just forgive. You're done. Thanks. Here's free money. No. We can't do that. But that's why I said in the beginning, what we can do, freeze interest rates, stop the principal from growing, and just have them pay down what they currently owe so they assume their responsibility and we can be done with it. I think we made a mistake as a society telling people to take on this debt. And now we have a bunch of people who feel like there's no light at the end of the tunnel, and so they're voting for socialists. No. Sometimes the solution to the puzzle is to give to get. A Chinese finger trap. We can pull as hard as we want, hey, the economy, these young people aren't buying houses, just pull harder until the whole thing snaps. Bad idea. You're going to have to give in. It seems counterintuitive, I know. Maybe we can't afford it. We have to work through this. But I think ultimately, if we keep on the path we're on, we're going to have a bunch of young people just with no purpose, with no passion, thinking there's no chance for progress, not advancing our economy and not becoming adults. So we got to do something. That's why I think student loan forgiveness is the right move. That's why I think Trump was making this move for veterans, and I would like to see it expanded more. Absolutely. So I will give a shout out quick to the Democrats who are talking about it because they're right about this. Listen, you could be mad on principle that people were not responsible. You believe in personal responsibility, and I'm right there with you. But I want to think about solutions. And sometimes there are hard decisions that hurt in the short term to make it right in the long term. They say the night is always darkest before the dawn. Forgiving student loan debt in whatever capacity may be burdensome. But I think about the awful ramifications of where we go if we don't do something about this now. Perhaps, as I've heard other people say, the first step is to stop the predatory loans, period, and then work on those with debt. The college system is trash and it needs to be reformed, and I think we can all agree on that. If you're a young person, do not do this, okay? So I have little sympathy for those who took out massive loans. I'll be honest. You know, when I see people say, hey, you took out a loan, you pay it back, I'm like, yup, that's your fault. But when I'm thinking about our moves in the chessboard, we want America to win. We want to preserve freedom. Being vindictive and saying, hey, you reap what you sow is not the right solution. Because these people can vote, and they're going to vote for the communists. I don't like communism. Let's give a little so that we can sometimes you have to retreat to win the war. It's a smart move. Don't be obstinate and say, I refuse to retreat when you know it's the strategic move. It's the right move. So that's where I'm at. I'm not a fan of government handouts to a great extent. I do believe government programs can be good, and this is a good example of Tim Pool being left on an issue. I can say it all the time, and people are like, no, stop. The left hates it. They try to claim I'm right wing. No, I'm right here with the Democrats talking about student loan forgiveness, and I'm really happy that Trump is in the conversation too. That means we were right. Okay, Trump can see it, at least for veterans, so he's at the table. What's the right move? I gotta say I don't know, but doing nothing means a potential collapse of the housing market, the student loan bubble bursting, and a panic ensuing where everyone goes default. We better get on this now, okay? There's so much to consider. The student loan bubble is ridiculous. It's dangerous for everybody. We need solutions. Now, I do believe the Democrats are pandering by looking at young people and saying, I'll give you free money. No. None of that. We just need sound plan. And guess what? Sometimes you have no choice but to pull over on the side of the road and help someone change their tire, even though they got a flat because they were driving like a jerk. They were swerving around, laughing with their buddies, hit a curb, popped a tire, and you're like, I shouldn't have to, but I'm gonna have to help out and get them, change their tire. So sometimes you accept a burden because other people are responsible. It's true. But I think one of the greatest things about America is that we have many people who recognize the responsibility to help those who made a mistake. But we got to figure out a way to do it right because we don't want it to keep happening. I won't go long. I got to keep these short. So stick around. One more segment coming up in a few minutes. I will see you all soon.